All right, we are in our last lesson of Unit 4 of Congruent Triangles. Today we're going to be talking about triangles and coordinate proofs, how to place triangles on the coordinate plane. Okay, so steps for placing triangles on the coordinate plane are: 1, we'll use the origin as a vertex or center of the triangle. 2, we're going to place at least one side of a triangle on an axis. Okay, we want to make our life easier. So remember when we were talking about the measures of sides, we don't have to use a distance formula if a side of our triangle is on an axis because we can just count the units on that axis, right? And then 3, we're going to keep the triangle within the first quadrant if possible. That way we're working with all positive numbers. And then lastly, you want to use the coordinates that make transformations as simple as possible. We'll talk about that later once we get to one of those problems. Okay, so for the first problem, I ask you to position and label a right triangle XYZ with leg XZ D units long on the coordinate plane. Okay, so the only stipulation they're giving you for this triangle is that it needs to be a right triangle, and then the leg XZ needs to be D units long. Okay, so rule number 1 on placing a triangle on the coordinate plane is to use the origin as one of your points, as one of your corners. I'm going to let this be point X of my triangle. Okay, so it needs to be a right triangle and it needs to have a leg XZ that is D units long. So I'm going to put my leg XZ on my x-axis. So this is going to be point Z right here. And the stipulation I gave you was that it needs to be D units long. So if it's D units long, my x variable is going to be D, correct? And then my y, since I'm on the x-axis, is 0. Okay, so the only other thing I told you is that it needs to be a right triangle. So that means my other angle of my triangle, y, needs to lie on my y-axis, right? Because once I do that and I connect my points, I have a right triangle, correct? Okay, what are the coordinates of y? Well, the x coordinate is 0, correct? The y coordinate we don't know because I didn't give you any stipulation, so let's just say it's b. You can use any variable you want. Okay, and then we're done. So xz is d units long, and then xy, we assigned it to be b units long. Again, that wasn't a stipulation. You could have used any coordinate you want. And remember, x is at 0.00. So that's all you have to do. I want you to name the missing coordinates of the isosceles right triangle ORS. QRS, I'm sorry. QRS, this should be a Q. Okay, so what do I know about this triangle? I know that it is a right triangle. Okay, what are the coordinates of point Q? This point here. Okay, Q is at 0, 0. Right? It's at the origin, so that one was easy. Okay, I told you that R is at point C0, C units away from 0 on the x-axis. And then S, where does this lie? Since it's a right triangle, I know that my x-coordinate needs to be the same, correct? Okay, so S is going to be at point C. I also told you that it's an isosceles right triangle. So if it's an isosceles right triangle, I know that these legs are both the same length, correct? Well, if my QR is distance C from the origin, then RS has to be what distance from the origin as well? C. Good job. Okay, so the missing coordinates for triangles QRS were 0, 0, and then S was at CC because it's an isosceles right triangle. Okay, what about triangle ABC here? Try to do it on your own. Find the missing coordinates. Okay, B is easy. It's at 0, 0, correct? Okay, what's C? So C is at A. What's the y coordinate here? 0. It's on the x-axis, so the y coordinate is 0. Okay, I meant to know that this is also an isosceles right triangle. I'm sorry, guys. So if it's an isosceles right triangle and they're both on the x-axis, I know this is my right angle and these two sides are congruent, correct? So on your own, try to figure out what is the coordinate for point A. Remember, these two sides are congruent. So the x-coordinate is 0, right? It's 0 on my x-axis. What would be my y-coordinate if this is A units long? This would also have to be A units long. Good. So the coordinate for point A is at 0, A. Okay, I'm going to put some problems on Haiku for you to look over and do for homework tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow.